Hey everyone, long time no see. It's been a while since I did a video, but it's also been a while since I picked up another Yngwie Malmsteen Stratocaster. So this one is a bit of another rarity. You know, I have quite a few, so obviously it takes me a little bit longer to find these rarities that I'm looking for. And this one is another Schecter. Man, this thing is heavy. So this is another Schecter YM-1. Cool part about these is this was these predate Yngwie Malmsteen signing with Fender, and they are very well made. So if you have the chance to grab one, I would say don't hesitate. You know, they made them very well, very high quality, very good attention to details, all that kind of stuff. So we'll go ahead and start from the top, as we usually do. So you can see, obviously, it has the smaller headstock, which is very cool, because Yngwie was using that early on in his career, even though he moved away from it and went to the big headstock. This one, like my other one, has the staggered Schecter tuners. I don't know how well that'll translate on video, but you know, these are longer and they get shorter. That way you don't need a string tree, which is very cool as well, because string trees, you know, they just don't look that good. But, you know, to each their own. Me, I'd much rather have something else that does that rather than have a tree, because then you gotta, you know, keep the strings lubricated and all that kind of stuff, whatever. So these tuners are really cool, not only because they're staggered, but because they still kind of look like the vintage tuners, and they have this hole down the center. So you can captivate the spring, or string rather, sorry, and not have to worry about it stabbing you. You know what I mean? How many of your guitars can you do that and not get stabbed 50 times and have blood coming out and all that kind of stuff? So these are Schecter tuners. On the back you see, just in case you were wondering if it was made in the US or not, now you know. This one is the only one that I've seen for sale so far that has a maple fretboard from Schecter. So that's why I was so excited and ecstatic to get this thing, because, you know, my other one's rosewood. Rosewood, obviously still very nice, but nothing looks like a maple fretboard in my opinion. So this one is actually a maple cap, and they did a good job of putting a nice shiny clear coat on just the fretboard. So they taped it off all along the sides, and then, you know, they put the finish on the top, but not on the back of the neck. The neck is still very silky smooth and more of a satin finish, you know, and they did actually a really good job of kind of matching up the grains here, which I was very surprised. Now the scallops are very similar to, say, the Generation 1 Yngwie Malmsteen Fenders. They're not incredibly deep, and then it doesn't have like super jumbo frets. I'd put them at medium jumbo. I can't remember the fret wire off the top of my head, but they're pretty significant. You know, you're not going to be feeling the fretboard under your fingers with these, unless you really try to and get really close to the fret and really dig in. So that's kind of cool. These are ash bodies, and those of you that know about ash, you know, it's kind of all over the map. Sometimes it's not that heavy, but man, I haven't weighed this one yet, but it is quite heavy. Definitely heavier than any of the Fenders, for sure. Now, one thing that's interesting on both of them is the little tiny extension on the fretboard. They also did scallop that, even though it doesn't really have a fret there to play on, which is kind of funny. But it is what it is, you know, whatever. So this one came to me with EMG pickups. So it was good and bad all at the same time. Good because the factory pickups that come on this guitar, I didn't really like them. They're actual true single coils, and they scream. You know, you've got to have really good noise gates to be able to tame them, so to speak. And I guess that's the good, is that I get to put my own pickups in there. So I obviously have lots of extra parts laying around for YJMs and things like that. So I took an official YJM pick guard and I put it on here. You know, I just ordered up some DiMarzio covers that fit in black so that I can keep to the true you know, the original color scheme, so to speak, of this guitar, because they did come with black pickups. So this is HS3, HS4, HS4, which is very cool. This is a 5-way switch, and then I did put the knobs from the original pickguard for this guitar on here, as well as the pickup selector top. So very cool, you know, an original Schecter type bridge. It looks like Wilkinson. I can't remember. I did talk to somebody about this bridge more specifically, and we realized it wasn't Wilkinson but somebody else. But I don't remember who was the one that made it. Sorry, I'm seeing a lot of dust on here. Then if you go to the back, you know, it's pretty plain, but 4-bolt neck, and then you know, they have their own version of bridge. Now the cool part about these two, if you really wanted to, is that they're routed out for humbuckers under here, regular size humbuckers. So you can switch out this pick guard and get yourself some, you know, really gnarly pickups if you wanted to. Other than that, I mean, that's really about it, guys. It's a beautiful guitar. They pay very close attention to detail. If you can snag one, I'd say snag one, because other than the weight, they are fantastic guitars. Thank you, guys.